Today on Saturday Country Live, we are sitting down with the King of Swaziland, King Mswati III, the Prime Minister of Thailand, Mr. Prayut Chan-o-cha, and the President of Iceland, Mr. Johannesson. We will be discussing the different economic statuses of each country. Welcome to the show, King Mswati III. We would like to hear about your country tonight. Where do you think your country would stand on the political spectrum?
Hello, thank you for having me on the show. My country would be considered a capitalist country. We are considered the last monarch in all of Africa, but contrary to popular belief, we are not a dictatorship because our monarch is in conjunction with another party.
Oh, that's interesting. How would that work?
Swaziland practices a Tankadala-based election system. This system is a democratic system in Swaziland that is in conjunction with the monarch. The system helps specific areas of the country. When getting elected in certain parts of the country, community centers are established and rally support for the king's endeavors to bring development to the country. They make sure that the king stays on track and that the country doesn't end up as a dictatorship.
What would you try and improve upon to make your country more economically free?
As the leader of Swaziland, I feel as if I have been too tough on new businesses in the country, and sadly, we have seen a decline in the business freedom in our country. This is because I've put some fairly hefty costs on starting your own business in Swaziland. Clearly, this is having a toll on the country, and it needs to be fixed, because over the past 5 years, we have seen a steady decline in the economic business freedom. In the next coming years, I plan to reduce these costs to make it easier for citizens to start their own business. If business freedom goes up, that will help our place on the economic index of freedom. My country is all about a free market capitalist society, so with more business freedom, our economy will see a positive change and start to thrive.
Which economic thinker from history do you think would agree with the choices you have made with your country's economic system?
I feel like the thinker that would most agree with the choices I have put forward into my country would be Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman is best known for his strong belief in free market capitalism. He also opposes a lot of Keynesian beliefs in economics. Swaziland is a capitalist country and follows a lot of the same beliefs as Friedman in the role of monetary policy and income inequality, which is why I believe that this is most like Milton Friedman.
Thank you, Swaziland, for all the information regarding your country. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Chan-o-cha here to talk about what he thinks Thailand's position is on the economic compass.
Thank you for inviting me to the show. Thailand is viewed more of a capitalist country than a socialist. Thailand is viewed as a capitalist country because we run a free market economy. We also have a government that doesn't interfere with the businesses. With Thailand being a free market country, it comes with a large amount of the country's GDP. The government of Thailand only comes up with 22% of the GDP for Thailand. Thailand, which has a GDP of 1.1 trillion, is higher than most countries, but they're only ranked number 55 on the economics freedom chart.
Do you think your country should be ranked number 55?
Thailand being ranked number 55 right now is fine, but as the years go on, I expect that my country is going to rise with the amount of GDP, which is 1.1 trillion, and all the other factors rising more than the average country does yearly. Another reason why I think we're going to rise is because Thailand is run as a capitalist country, and most countries that are successful are capitalist countries.
I do seem to have to agree with you since your GDP is 1.1 trillion each year. Another question is, do you think your country has been growing in the way you wanted it to?
Yes, I do think that Thailand has been growing the way that I wanted it to. Since they've had a couple little dips in the factors such as labor freedom, the country has begun to bounce back very effectively, and they've been starting to grow faster than the country's average, according to the data graphs. So we will be moving up the ranks in the next couple of years.
I'm curious to think which economic thinker would agree with what your country has done economically in the past years.
I think that Adam Smith would be the economic thinker that would agree with the choices of Thailand in the past few years, because Adam Smith was known for being the father of capitalism. Adam Smith was the one who created the foundations of the free market, which Thailand is a strong believer of.
What makes Iceland so economically substantial?
What makes Iceland so economically substantial is based on the open free market that we encourage. We don't believe in the government supporting the businesses because they could interfere on how much owners can spend on their businesses.
I don't understand. Why would it be bad to have the government involved in supporting the free market?
It's because the government is spending too much money on the GDP rate, at a very high 44% of government spending. So with that, the total GDP rate in the country is a shocking 67%. So the government is bringing more debt to the country, them working with the system business that would bring their debt even higher.
Have others given suggestions on how you could improve on your economic status to make Iceland more economically efficient?
Well, since civilians are the main providers for the efficient economy, they are doing so well with the open free market. We would ask the civilians to help pay off the government's debt by the government slightly increasing their taxes and the government providing more changes to better suit the citizens' status while they're still living in Iceland. This can benefit the economy, the government, and help encourage positive changes to the civilians in Iceland.
For my last question, if Hayek were here with us today, what do you think his thoughts would be?
If Hayek were here, he would believe that Iceland can be very economic for a long period of time. Hayek was also a capitalist, so I think our choices would meet the standards of his thoughts, such as people don't need the government providing financial support for businesses because they would cause malinvestments.
It was great having you guys here today to discuss your country's economic statuses, which political views your country follows, as well as discussing the different economic thinkers that would agree with your country. Up next, tune in to see Donald Trump playing with a cat.